Thank you, Nepheli. Thank you. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, right around the world. My name is Ben Bowler, and it's great to be coming to you live for this very special episode of Unity Earth TV today. Now we're in our second year of Unity Earth TV, and we're really excited about this conversation that we are continuing today with uniting in our humanity. This is actually part two, and we're going to be sharing the links to part one. So you'll be able to find it, which we had back in World Unity Week, hosted by Danielea Castell and these extraordinary facilitators of this program, Uniting in Our Humanity, a courageous experiment in Palestinian and Israeli relations. Back during the 8th month of one of the most deeply painful conflicts of our time, Nepheli, Galgos, and Daphne, Percy, Chorafas, two young dancers in Greece, invited 33 people, 15 Palestinians, 15 Israelis, and three more internationals to Aegina Island for 6 days. They named the gathering Uniting in Our Humanity. And again, they were bringing people, 15 Palestinians, 15 Israelis, to come together for a very special purpose. They sent out a heartfelt call for experienced Palestinians and Israeli body-based facilitators to guide this sensitive exploration. 8 facilitators answered the call, and through the winter of 2024, they collaborated to craft this extraordinary and courageous experiment in human relations. In the final weeks, an international nature communicator joined the team. That's Danielea Castell, who's my co-host today, ensuring the addition of the nearby olive tree elders in the program's healing power. We are here today with the organizers and facilitators to talk about what happened, what they offered to the gathering, what took place those months ago, what they received, and what's happening now. So I want to welcome now Danielea Castell, my co-host of this episode. Danielea, it's great to see you. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, everyone.
Let me just say a few words about Danielea Castell. Yeah, so Danielea is a nature communicator, an interbeing ambassador for peace, and founder of the Listening Field and the Peace Alliance with the Olive Trees, which emerged in the Listening Field shortly after the events of October 7, 2023. In Israel and Palestine. Danielea was at the Uniting in Our Humanity gathering in Greece as an international participant and to facilitate the invitation of the ancient olive trees to the facilitation team. Welcome back, Danielea. You've worked so hard to put this together, this part two. It's great to be here, and we're really looking forward to the sharing today.
Thank you so much, Ben, for first of all saying yes to having this episode of UETV and partnering, and also deep thanks to Purpose Earth, who I know has been supporting Unity Earth all these years as well. I, like many of us, are not doing anything alone in the human world, and in my case, also in the nature world, and so deeply grateful for everybody's yes for showing up today. So I want to dedicate our time to greater and greater courage and willingness to feel radical empathy, to trust change, and to let the old stories fall away, and to greater compassion. To use the words of the olive tree, actually, I wanted to, is to compassion all that it takes to show up fully human during this stage of our species evolution. So I'm here today because one of our participants in the closing ceremony said, we need to share what has happened here. And those person words, they just really imprinted on my heart. And so I did the first sharing. This is the second. We don't know if there will be anything more from here, but I wholeheartedly agree with her. So I also wanted to begin to acknowledge that we had a support team from the land and from you'll see from the place where we stayed, so the top right-hand corner here is some of the gardens from IKEA, which is the guest house and retreat center where we all were held and hosted so beautifully. Below this is the Mediterranean Sea, and through her, People from the Holy Land were able to actually feel and send, prayers directly because her waters flow up against the coast of the Holy Land. And of course, on the left, we have our representative of the four main nature elders who were so instrumental in supporting us in our healing pathway. I would like to also acknowledge at this point that oh yes, this is what I wanted to share with you, was just acknowledge that this was a message that came through on June 6th while I was still here on the land from one of the listeners in the listening field. And they literally said, love is a verb. Make peace and compassion verbs to help them grow and flourish. And then they said to this person, we peace you, we compassion you. And they did. You'll hear more about that later. I would like to acknowledge at this moment that we were a team of 8 facilitators, 4 Palestinian and 4 Israelis. I was the 9th, a guest facilitator, and just wanted to acknowledge who won't be here with us in person today, but was definitely instrumental in this program entirely. So Iran Marcos in this top left, he will be here by pre-recorded video. He was partnered with Abdul Karim, who is a peace builder, a Gazan man who now lives in Portugal, and he is a whirling dervish, brought the pathway of Rumi and love. Beside him is Kifa, and Kifa is a body worker and a translator from Palestine, Israel, Palestine, and she will not be with us today. And she was partnered with Ayelet, and they brought some incredible deep body movement work and concepts. So we just really acknowledge those who aren't here. And just down in that right corner, you're going to see Christina, and Daphne will mention her later and who she is. But there's her beautiful face, and then these 2 other people here, Yanis on the left, and I on Christina, the other internationals besides myself. So I would like to take a moment now to do something a little unusual. We're going to meet the organizers and facilitators, hear about the program. What I'd like to do is do something, see the end from the beginning. So I'd like to share some comments that were shared by at the gathering in the closing circle. And so I invite you, if you wish, to close your eyes to better receive and feel these heartfelt words while I am reading them. In the midst of horror, we have given birth to something very fragile, a little baby of hope that now needs to be nurtured. What I learned is that when people show you their hearts, it is impossible to dislike them. When I came here, I felt empty. Now I feel full. And I want to go home, a place I normally run from, because I'm excited to share what has happened here for me. I had some very beautiful and some very hard experiences here. I'd like to thank the men. I'm grateful to have been in a space with brave men who feel safe enough to show a different quality of masculine, a softness. This allowed me to also show my softness. My flame of hope is back. I feel released to feel joy again. It is still hard for me to see Israeli people being happy when our people are being slaughtered. Before I came here, I thought that there was nothing in the future for me. I have been reminded of abundance and love, and that I have way more good memories to make. I could think that this is an isolated experience here in Greece, so it's not real. But this experience represents what is possible to achieve in our lifetime. Something has changed in my DNA, a softening. And finally, what was missing for me? More time with you all. I'm turning it over to you, Ben, to introduce our first presenters.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much. for that, Danielea, reading that out, and those amazing reflections from the end of the original event. What a profound work this is, and two of the main organizers are our first speakers today. Nepheli Galgos is a somatic dance practitioner and co-organizer of Uniting in Our Humanity. She has a master's in international community development and has lived and worked in several NGOs in Israel, Palestine, as well as Peru, Zambia, and Tanzania. Daphne, Percy, Chorafas is co-organizer and host of the Uniting in Our Humanity gathering. Daphne grew up in between Greece, France, and Sweden, and lived in Israel, Palestine from 2018 to 2023, where she studied dance and dance movement therapy for her MA. So Nepheli and Daphne, we're so grateful to have you with us. Thank you for this beautiful work and for sharing, the beautiful program. Over to you.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Danielea, for the introductions. Yes, I wanted to start our sharing actually, but just taking a moment also to acknowledge that the war in Gaza, Israel, and Palestine is still ongoing, and that this reality is very much a reality, yes, for many people. And so our hearts are with all of these people today. And also I wanted to acknowledge the effect that this war has on everyone and also on the international community.
Thank you, Danielea and Ben, and thank you, Nepheli. Yes, I would also like to take a moment to thank our amazing team of facilitators that jumped on board on this adventure with us from Israel, Palestine, and also the 22 participants that showed courage and trust in coming to be with us. I also really would like to thank deeply all the people who donated to this cause, who showed us through their donations that they believe in actions like these, and whom without it wouldn't have been possible to have this gathering. And lastly, the person Danielea mentioned, Christina, is my mother, and I would really like to thank her and her partner Olivier for all the work they've done over the years in creating IKEA, is what you can see behind me, which was the place that hosted us, and it was ideal for our gathering. So thank you to all those souls.
Yes. So how did it all begin? It was the beginning of January, actually, where it had already been several months of experiencing the war from afar and really feeling horror and helplessness. And at some point, I couldn't stay in this place. I needed to take action. And this sparked me to contact Daphne, with whom we have a lot in common. We both lived many years back on the land. And very fast, this vision of uniting in our humanity gathering was born.
It became very clear to us when we were first kind of downloading the vision and the idea that our aim was not to gather in order to discuss possible solutions for a war that has spanned across so many generations and has this magnitude, but our aim was more to create a brave space, a space in which Palestinians and Israelis could meet and come and be together and go through processes, guided processes, mainly centered on the body and expression of emotions, and also a space where the core values, the core human values were those of listening, of compassion, and of the wish to understand one another.
Yes, and one central part of our gathering was to focus on the body, because we were observing that there's so much intellectual work around this conflict, focus on who's right, who's wrong. And since both of us, Daphne and I, we have a background in body-based practices in somatics and dance, this taught us that we're multidimensional beings and that it's very important to include our bodies in the conversation, in the process of meeting one another. And we could see that, we could witness that actually during the gathering, that our body is a very powerful tool, and a powerful tool to connect to ourselves and to connect to one another, and also to the essence of what it means to be human, which many times goes beyond words. Also, it was very important for us to create a heaven, a place where people coming from the land that are living day to day in survival mode have a chance to catch up and to relax, re-regulate, rest, and truly replenish. So when Daphne and I, we came up with a vision and we set up the first values, our intentions about this gathering, we decided to write an open letter and to put a call for Palestinian and Israeli body-based facilitators. And to our great surprise, we had a lot of positive feedback. And in a few weeks' time, we were able to assemble a wonderful team of 8 committed facilitators. And 5 of them are here with us today to share their experience with us.
We also invited internationals. So apart from Nepheli, myself, and Danielea, who is here today, as Danielea mentioned, there were 2 more. And we weren't sure in the beginning, but then we realized that it was really important to include also people from other places that have been so affected by this conflict in a clear role to support the process of meeting between Israelis and Palestinians. So we kind of felt that maybe no one is really neutral in how they relate to this conflict. And yet choosing these people, it was part of our conversation, and it was really important that they are able to hold complexity and to hold space for what was to emerge. And then on the 28th of May, we all gathered here on Egina Island, and it was a small miracle that we all came. I think until the very last minute, I was nervous that some people wouldn't make it. And it was also the time we realized that meeting physically with the intention of cultivating peace in these times where so much horror prevails or seems to prevail was actually a radical act. We didn't start with this thought, but as we were going through, it clearly emerged. And also in terms of the reality that is right now ongoing on the land of Israel, Palestine, it's becoming increasingly difficult for people to meet physically, also because of all kinds of practical limitations set by the government, borders, checkpoints, all this situation there, but also emotionally difficult to take that leap of faith and meet the proclaimed enemy. Yeah.
Yes, it was really a small miracle, and we have so many highlights we could share. Maybe one that I wanted to share with you today is actually going back to the first moments of the inception of this gathering, where everything was so open. We were still very unsure of whether this would happen or not, if people would trust in this vision or not. And then suddenly we have Hanin joining our team, which is she's here with us today. She's our facilitator coming from Gaza. And at this moment, I really felt inside of me that, yes, if this woman that I really don't know, coming from Gaza, miles away from me, is trusting in the vision, then we're doing this. We're following this vision.
Yeah, I feel also there are so many moments during the week that I would love to share. And I think if I have to pick just one, it's really one image that is still going with me and that touched me deeply. And this was witnessing a man from Gaza and a man from Israel who had started to train back in his days of the military to become a fighter pilot, actually embracing and really you could feel the authenticity there. Like there were tears and there were also smiles and there was love. And this image was really a symbol for me. And I felt it had like strong ripple effects in this moment. So this is just one small one, and maybe we'll get to share some more later. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So we're following the order that things happened, more or less, during our week together. So I'd like to introduce Nitzan and Amira, who were also partnering as facilitators. Nitzan Joy Gordon is an Israeli peace activist, facilitator, movement, and IFS therapist. She authored the book Together Beyond Words, Women on a Quest for Peace in the Middle East. Nitzan brings Muslims, Jews, Bedouins, Druze, and Christians together in a dynamic process to heal ancient wounds, recover hidden strengths, and promote emotional understanding. Amira Aboata is a facilitator of women's circles and groups dedicated to social and spiritual change. Amira's project, Tashafi, which means healing in Arabic, serves as a conduit to spread light and healing among humans around the world. Welcome, Nitzan and Amira. Please share with us how you took us on this deep journey to touch us inside. Thank you.
Okay. Amira, do you want to start or shall I?
Please be my guest.
Okay, so wow. It's just so wonderful to be here with everyone who's joined today. And I'm just, as I'm sitting here, I'm just envisioning the beautiful, beautiful olive trees that we were blessed enough to sit within during our time in Agina. But I'll start earlier. I've been working with Israelis and Palestinians for the past 30 years in what we call peace building. And our main idea, our main focus is that pain that is not transformed is transmitted. Pain that is not transformed is transmitted. So what we try to do is to create spaces where people feel their pain, feel what is theirs to feel, so they don't act it out against each other. And we've been doing it for 30 years, and since October 7th, we created an army of healers in Israel, which includes several different groups working to create spaces for people to share their pain and trauma. And when we came to Agina, what was most wonderful first was to be invited there. From this invitation from these two, I don't know how to call them, like beings of love and light who just see so deeply and just saw this beautiful way that we can have a gathering that's so special of uniting. And what does uniting mean? How do we unite? And so during our time, Amira's and my time, it was important for us to begin by first helping people get grounded, connected to their bodies, feel present, and then begin to listen inside and see what's happening inside them, hear their feelings, and listen to one another. What does it mean to really listen? Why is listening so important? How can listening help in the healing? So we worked on that. And then the next thing that we did was we asked people, well, all the people who came, and I don't know if it's true for everyone, but this is what I felt, that we were all so exhausted when we came. We were just so our nerves, and what, for me, one of the best things was that during our time there, we could be there and feel the quiet, not hear bombs, not hear of so many terrible things happening to so many people around us. So just being there, and after we worked with people and what it means to listen and how to listen to one another, we asked each one to think about what happened to you. What happened to you since October 7th? What's going on in your heart? And for me, that was just so meaningful. We worked in small groups, and people shared, and people cried, and people got upset and angry. But it ended with such deep connection that I was so touched. I think my time is up, even though I would like to share what happened to me during our time in the olive trees, but I want to give Amira her full time too. So thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Nitsan. So I'm a group facilitator, and I'm working with Arab, Jewish, a different type of people, young adults. I'm working especially with women, with everything like connect to women, a circle of lives, fertility, sexuality, and all the subject. And during my job, what did me and Nitzan did is to make a space for people just to speak about their pain. And it's come with creating a safe space, not just by sitting what we can do or we can't do, like not just with the wisdom of the circles. It was more just to be there and teach people how to speak from the heart and to listen from the heart and to reflect. It's not, it wasn't like a competition of pain. Like Nitsan said to me this morning, every pain has a place, and every pain is like his space in this world. So this is what happened actually. People were there like catching hands to each other, listening, care about each other. And me and Nitsan did something really special, that we start with the games, because I think we believe that pain and happiness have like two faces for the same thing. So we start with moving, having some games. And I think the second part is it was to build a trust. We started by building a trust between us and, in a way, in my belief, and God, by dancing. After that, it was dancing with couples. After that was dancing with small groups. And I think this is the experience that the mind see when he's like surrounded with the lovely people and they trust them. It's like when you're in your mother womb, you protected, someone there nourishing you, helping you. And this is actually, I think, what makes people open and speak and respect each other and give one another any physical, any, I don't know, like water, anything they need. And it was really, I think, privilege for me and Nitzan just to be there and watch them and to hold this space for them. It's feel like God jobs. And I'm really happy to have this small healing in this world, and maybe it's reflect to another place, and more light will be in this world. Thank you.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you for that amazing sharing to both of you. It's so touching what has been able to be achieved by the coming together that took place out there. So thank you so much, Amira, and thank you to all the people that have been involved in this as well. Let's go to the next couple that are going to be speaking, and as we go forward with this incredible facilitators. Again, with thanks to Amira and to Nitzan for that sharing. Our next speakers, Miriam Turmalin is an Israeli peace activist, ceremonialist, and holistic art therapist. She was born to a Jewish Israeli mother and a Christian German father. She knew from an early age that she was a result of peace and love, and that her life would be dedicated to peace building in the Holy Land. Miriam creates spaces and ceremonies for healing and transformation, accompanying people through passages of life and death. Haneen Abu Sawad is a Palestinian peace builder, writer, and facilitator. She was born and raised in Gaza under occupation. Haneen now lives in Portugal with her 2 children. Despite the fact that she has lost many family members in this most recent war, she firmly believes in the importance of inner healing for collective liberation. So Miriam and Haneen, welcome, and we're looking forward to your sharing today.
Thank you. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Haneen, for being here with me and in my life. So, yeah, when I received the call to join, it was very clear that I'm coming. And when I heard it's about coming with a partner, with a Palestinian partner, it was clear that I will invite Haneen, as she has dreamt years before that we will meet in Greece. And since we know each other, we are sharing as dreamers a vision of peace in this land and beyond for the world. So what we brought to the gathering was partly exactly that. We created a space in which we can imagine and dream peace. How would it feel like? How would it look like? How does the reality of peace can be in our life, experienced in our heart, in our center, in our imagination, knowing that imagination is a tool of creation, and having a glimpse into that reality which we want to create. And at the same time, knowing that the war is ongoing and we need, in a way, not only to hold a vision for peace, which is very crucial in this time, but we need also to give space for the suffering and the pain that we experience. So one of the things that we created was a planetary dance, which is a score that Anna Halprin, a dance therapist, created for people to engage into movement, not only as dancers, but for everyone. So in this score, it's like a ceremony. Everyone can participate and run, walk, dance for whatever they wish. So people can say out loud what they're running for and then go. And this was a space where we could express our deepest longings, wishes, prayers for peace, and also our pain in a way. And more place for expressing our pain was in a grieving ceremony, which was like the heart or the centerpiece in our week together, as we already created a community which can be like a container for such a space, which is very important, as grieving is not something we should do alone. It is for community to hold. And there I feel we had the experience of a shared humanity, because we all share pain. And it was beautiful to see that we can hold each other in our pain. And through that expression, I feel that also in the last night, we could really enjoy and celebrate together. Because once you give acknowledgement and express your pain, we can also feel the transformation and release and the healing. And then we can celebrate life. And this was for me one of the highlights, that we could really sense the possibility of shared joy as well. And if I have still time, I want to share another highlight, which was for me, I didn't plan, but it just came now. It was a highlight for me, very personal highlight. We had a session of that was for forgiveness, and I brought my very personal pain regarding men in front of a Palestinian man that was listening to me. And all what he did was telling me, thank you for sharing, and wiping off my tears and hugging me. And I felt this is all I needed, a witness and someone that just sees my pain. And this young Palestinian man, he didn't try to say, oh, don't cry, or oh, this is horrible, this what you share. But he could, as a man, embrace my pain of man and just see me. And I melted and said, okay, this is forgiven. That's all I needed. So this was a personal, very touching moment for me that was possible in this gathering. Thank you. And I'll pass it to Hanin.
Thank you, Miriam. And thank you, everyone, for my other colleagues who shared. I just want to start by saying that I still feel a lot of appreciation in my body for the times that we shared. And when Miriam shared the calling with me to be in the uniting in our humanity, I felt the resonance to share the space with her, because we are connected since many years, since 5 years or more even, dreaming together, weaving together. And then this time it was okay on reality to create together, to co-create together. Even though there is war, there is genocide happening in Gaza, my family, I was worried about them a lot of times, how they are doing. I still worry about them until this moment, because it's not over. So thank you, Nepheli and Daphne, for the acknowledgement that the situation is still ongoing. And I really, in that moment, I really felt like it all works when we believe in that we are on the same boat together. We are intertwined, and our freedom is connected to one another. And the moment we see how connected we are and intertwined we are, and to bring liberation for everyone, there is the seeds of where we can really put and lay on vision for a shared a future. I want to highlight 2 experiences. I mean, I have many experiences, to be honest, from this gathering, and I cannot share them all. But 2 of them was the grief ceremony, when we sat together and grieved together, which is also not common in the cultures, to grieve and sit and share the pain and see each other pain and feel each other pain. Was really powerful, because really it opened hearts, and from spaces of open hearts, people can relate and feel more opening towards each other. One Israeli woman, Nurut, shared after that ceremony that if we could just meet each other, we will not be in this fighting. And this is the thing, the systems are creating ways to separate, that we don't meet. But once we meet, there is the ground of mutuality and feeling. And the other highlight experience, do I still have time? I want to share about the olive grove, and to bring how the nature of element and body and somatic experience was really coming together. In the olive grove, it felt like a continuation of our work, because we went to the olive trees, we felt connected to the nature, Olive trees are very holy trees in the Holy Land, and we felt really connected to the trees in that moment, and we prayed together again. We sang together. We felt the joy of life and the tears of the ongoing situation that is still happening. And the olive trees and the nature somehow felt like guides for me, for us, this time that we shared. Yeah. Thank you.
Ooh. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'd like to introduce Iran Marcos. Iran is here with us today through pre-recorded video. He is a former Israeli combat soldier and officer. His life and work is dedicated to peace building, and he works as a somatic healer and facilitator of men's circles. Power of love and forgiveness as the pathway to inner and outer peace. In the facilitating team, Iran partnered with Abdul Karim, a Palestinian man who grew up in Gaza but who now lives in Portugal. Although Karim has lost 72 members of his family in this current war, he is dedicated to the pathway of love in his peace work as a whirling dervish in the path of Rumi. So we're going to play a 4-minute video here where Iran is going to be sharing a bit of his own personal story and a little bit about his partnership with Karim.
My name is Iran Marcos. I was born in Toronto, Canada, and I moved to Jerusalem, Israel, with my family when I was 4.5 years old. And I grew up here in Jerusalem in a religious, conservative Jewish environment and a very Zionist environment. And everybody, and specifically men, were really encouraged and pushed to join the military and to be in combat service. And it was very, very clear in the environment I was in that the purpose of me going to the military was to protect my family and to protect the Jewish people. So I did that. I went into a combat military service for almost 4.5 years. And only towards the end of my military service, something happened, and I started to see parts of the conflict differently and myself differently. And once I got out of the military, I started on a healing journey that lasted until today. It's been more than 10 years. And it really started with working on healing myself and my own experiences and my own wounds, and really connecting to this softness and letting go of a lot of this macho masculine that I knew so well from growing up and being in the military, and then becoming a healer and embracing a lot of these practices and helping others to do this work as well. Over the last few years, I also started working with men in men's circles and gatherings of men, realizing also how important it is to bring this connection to the body and to emotions and this softness into the space of men, and how foreign that is to us, and how so much of this war is created by men and is connected to a disconnection that we men have. So I also feel this part of my path of connecting to this softness and connecting to my body is such an important part of peace building, and I'm doing more and more of facilitating and holding spaces for men to go on this journey of connecting and laying down their sword, so to speak. So during the gathering as a facilitator, I was paired with Abdul Karim. because we were sharing the space, and it was important for us to co-facilitate and to have each workshop given by an Israeli and a Palestinian. So the meeting with Abdul Karim, with who he is as a person and with his journey and where he comes from, was really powerful and touching for me. I felt it allowed me to touch another piece of my vulnerability, seeing him do that. And also there was something really alive in his presence, since he comes from Gaza and his family has been deeply hurt by that same army that I was a part of. And for us to be there together and to hold the space together was so touching for me. And I feel just for us to sit next to each other and to hold hands and to hold the space together and open our hearts to each other is a huge part of the peace and of the healing that for me needs to be done and was done in that space that we were in the gathering.
Thank you, Iran. We have another short clip to share with you where Iran is going to share what he offered to the gathering. And just in case you might be wondering, what Karim shared with us was how to whirl, which was very, very exciting. But before that, Iran introduced us to forgiveness.
During the gathering, I offered a workshop around forgiveness called Forgiving Love. The topic of forgiveness was really, really sensitive. To even ask somebody or speak this word of forgiveness to two sides who are in war and in conflict and who have hurt the other side so deeply that even talking about forgiveness seems outrageous at times or inappropriate. And it was clear to me, with my understanding of forgiveness, that it is so necessary, it's so needed for us to even speak this word and offer this possibility that forgiveness is an option. And to understand that forgiveness isn't about letting the other side off the hook or saying that what they did is okay. Forgiveness is really for me to make this choice to say, as long as I hold this anger and hate and resentment inside myself, I am the one hurt by it most. And forgiveness is forgiving myself love and forgiving myself freedom. So it's really letting go and freeing myself. When introducing forgiveness, it was first really crucial to allow people to see forgiveness as an option and think of it differently and even speak the word, even be in a space where we're talking about forgiveness. And it was so important for me to say, you do not have to forgive. And it is not your responsibility, or what you must do now is to forgive the other side. If you're a Palestinian, and you can't or you don't want to forgive the Israelis or the Israeli army for what it's done, don't. Because if you can honor yourself when you are not ready to forgive, when there is a part of you that's ready to forgive, it will be honest, it will be true, and it will come from your heart.
Thank you, Iran. I'd like to switch gears a little bit. For me, take my host hat off and share a significant moment for me at the gathering. I'm going to come back. I'm going to flip what I did in the beginning, which was to speak at the end. And now we've heard what led up to it. And now I would like to share my significant moment is something that happened the very first night that we got together. Nepheli and Daphne had scheduled an eye-gazing exercise for us. And just to give you a tiny bit of backstory, in my role in facilitating the inclusion of the olive tree elders on the facilitating team, what happens is I arrived early, 3 days early, and I spent those 3 days up in the olive grove, meeting 3 out of the 4 tree elders who were there. And with the grandmother olive tree, I introduced myself, said why I was there, and made a formal request. Would she, on behalf of the other olive trees, join our facilitating team in a self-directed way, meaning however it is they feel that they can support what is happening here, then they have been invited to do so. And for any of you who are familiar with this territory, it's a spiritual law that our nature relatives and others cannot just enter into human experience and need to be expressly invited. And the grandmother immediately said yes. And then fast forward to the opening ceremony and the eye gazing, which honestly was such a courageous choice on the part of our young organizers, for 35 of us to look deeply in each other's eyes, coming from all these various situations, living situations and active war, to spend this time just meeting each other eye to eye. So I was breathing and feeling a lot. And then at one point I became aware that there was some other consciousness inside me, behind my cheekbones and my ocular bones. And I started to be able to see the outlines of like olive tree branches and leaves, like imprinted on my retina. And I realized that the olive trees were looking out through my eyes into the eyes of each human being that I was seeing. And I was also seeing through their image was transparent, so I could see through their eyes, and I could see around their branches as Danielea. It was the most profound and humbling experience I have ever had in my life. And I heard this kind of telepathic echo, the woman with olive trees in her eyes. And then shortly after that, two women, one right after the other, after we broke eye contact and before they moved on, kind of shook their head as if they'd been in this reverie and said, "You really are the woman, the olive tree woman." So I just wanted to share that moment because we have a lot of love and support from our nature elders, very, very specifically olive tree elders, because they embody and live the frequency of peace, as everyone can feel when you meet them, when you lie inside of their beautiful bodies. So this was confirmation for me that this feeling of peace that I had been communing with them online in these listening fields all those months, that in person, that energy is magnified. And so I just wanted to really, really honor them. They're here and they're listening, and just to acknowledge that this partnership of humans and nature elders is really essential for us to learn how to evolve into these sovereign, loving, harmonious beings that are meant to inhabit our beautiful planet. So we'd like to open things up. I'd like to bring Ben back on here and to open up a conversation for a few minutes. And then we have a special experience for you that Miriam is going to introduce. So Ben, Anything you'd like to ask the group or
Wow,
the panel?
wow. Well, firstly, before I ask anything, Danielea, let me just express deep gratitude and joy for all of the speakers. What's been shared is amazing, and thank you, Danielea, for really stewarding this event and making sure it came together. Just listening to everybody, what an extraordinary group. So deep bows to Nepheli and Daphne, but all Amira, Nitzan, Miriam, Hanin, Iran, Abdul, everyone who participated in this as leaders and facilitators, extraordinary. In clearly, what is one of the most intractable conflicts in the world, and how brave to just even take this on and to bring Israelis, Palestinians together with the intention of finding new ways to unite in our humanity. Really very impressive and very powerful work. I've been really touched by the level of sincerity and the level of conviction and the brilliance of these young facilitators. I think we take a lot of hope and we take a lot of inspiration from them. So my questions, and maybe I'll start with Nepheli and Daphne. But my question would be, I love how the whole group has set out to almost bypass the intractable intellectual dimensions of the conflict by really having a somatic experience in the body, and then bringing what Danielea brings in with engaging with the nature elders, which is a whole different level altogether of going to another level of consciousness in order to not transcend the conflict, but in order to hold space for dialogue to take place. And I just wonder, what were the biggest learnings for you, Nepheli and Daphne, when you set this up? You had this intention, you had these beautiful experiences and other contexts, but when this group came together, almost organizing in a way that was, a magical convening by everything we can feel from what you're sharing today, the pictures, the experience, the sharings, the testimonies. And as we look at, so many different conflicts around the world, what are the biggest learnings from your experience in Greece, uniting in our humanity, with this idea that we need to go to a higher level of consciousness in order to hold space for healing, for forgiveness? I just loved what Iran was sharing at the end there about the power of forgiveness. Incredible courage in that context from all sides. But yeah, what are your biggest takeaways? What are the biggest learnings? And what do you think we could apply to any other context where there are conflicts, and there are no shortage of them on our planet?
So, do you want me to start, or do you have something fresh? Or yes,
I have something that just popped in my mind now, but you can go ahead.
oh, okay. I guess what is more striking to me, and what is really relevant, I think, specifically in this conflict, but I believe this conflict is also a mirror for the international community to really face our deepest wounds, our deepest fears. This conflict is not isolated. And so I think the biggest takeaway is really be a witness of this wheel of emotions. And I think, our facilitators beautifully shared that, like, once people really get in touch with their pain, we really get in touch with their fear. But being in that place and being really witnessed and being seen has a tremendous power for transformation. And this cannot possibly be experienced only once. It's something that requires courage and really repetition in a way. As long as we are humans on this planet, we will continue to be hurt and unfortunately hurt others. So it's kind of witnessing this power of getting in touch with ourselves in the power of community.
I feel like I have so many things that I learned from this experience that it's hard at the moment to focus on one. one that really comes up. I would also really love to add to what Nepheli is saying, but one that is coming up now is also personal from our point of view as internationals, as young Greek people, that were really deeply affected by this situation, and instead of kind of staying in this helplessness, realizing that, okay, there are some things we can do, and what are those things? And the choice that lies there of how do you act when you're presented actually with that we always have the choice and we have the agency, like if we can find that in ourselves. And yeah, I think this was my biggest takeaway, that we can make things happen in the sense that we can affect reality to some extent, and to some people also quite deeply. Yes, that's one of them.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you both for sharing that. And there's so much more we could share about your learnings and your takeaways and how we can apply this to other contexts. But Danielea, if I can just make this point, it's no accident. I think that this, or no, it's not. It's noteworthy that this event and this gathering was led by women. And I note there was gratitude expressed to the male participants in some of the reflections at the end, and we heard some of the beautiful men that were a part of it as well. But perhaps in a question I can direct to Amira and Miriam, this seems to be a very kind of feminine medicine. The idea of listening and being in our bodies, and forgiveness, and that gentleness of the space that's being created. We talk a lot in our community at Unity Earth and around many different communities about the rise of the feminine and about the importance of female leadership. I'd just like to ask you, from your own experience in Uniting Our Humanity as an event, to speak into this idea that there is something uniquely feminine about the healing process. And it doesn't mean that men can't participate and aren't important and aren't equal partners in that, but it seems to me clearly that this is led by strong feminine leaders and female leaders, and that's an important part of why it's worked so beautifully, including Danielea's great contributions as well. So perhaps I could address that question or that reflection to Miriam and Amira for your own thoughts on.
Amira, do you want to respond?
I can respond for sure. I think is the idea of being a feminine, and to pass this is also a feminine energy and also like masculine energy. But in a way, you're right, like to be relaxed and to be just there for this moment and to give yourself, all yourself, through people, through pain, through this, and actually like this is a process, and all the processes are like the feminine cycle. Like you have resting day, you have a powerful day, and you have just like a planning day. So I think all of these phases, it was in this project. And I think also a man has also a feminine energy, but as a man, sometimes like they're not like the society not really agree to them to show this side, and it's really, I think, it's rough for them, like not to be in also this side, because it's really important side of them. So being there and to give the space for everyone to have, I think, all the sides, also the feminine, also the masculine energy, and is really one of the things that made people open.
Yes, and I would like to add to that I feel that the feminine has been suppressed both in women and men over decades, centuries. And as you mentioned, the feminine rising, I feel that the system of war that is also ancient as history, it it continues because of that suppression, because it's not balanced. And so the feminine rising means that we are connecting to the qualities of the womb. And the womb brings life, the womb sustains life, the womb holds life and gives birth to life. And it knows the cycle of life and death, as Amira said. So there's a wisdom that was suppressed for centuries, that we haven't been sustaining life in a system of war. And so the feminine rising is for both women and men. And maybe because we are women and we embody it, we have the wombs in our bodies, we have a direct access. And therefore, the leadership of women, or women creating spaces, womb-like spaces, where we can hold each other, where we can see each other, where we can bring our feelings, where we can connect to that, are essential for our healing and also for creating new life forms that can hold all life forms and everyone. Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much. I'm just wanting to show a slide here. I flashed it earlier and didn't actually show it. Can I do that? Can we make that happen? Our beautiful tech folk. Because this for me really symbolizes an example of what we saw a lot of. So again, this is an Israeli man and a Palestinian man, and this kind of touching, embracing. You saw in Iran's video also that image of him and Abdul Karim. When these images are like imprinted on us, and they make me soften. You know, I soften, and water comes to my eyes when I see this. And you can now understand why the responses, you know, that I shared, some of those closing comments, were what they were, because we were all changed. I was not the same person. I was far more human when I came back than I was nature elder, and I'm deeply grateful for that. So we'd like to offer you a little taste of what we experienced in Uniting in Our Humanity. And the one thing that we haven't spoken to yet so much is how much singing and dancing together facilitated another connection and shared humanity at another level. And this happened during our ceremonies. This happened, Iran was constantly playing guitar, where recorded music was played, etc. Sharing of songs, singing each other's cultural songs in each other's languages, etc. Just weaving our humanity. And so what we'd like to share with you now is the song that was played and we all sang throughout this hour and a half grieving ceremony. And I'm going to share screen to show you the lyrics, and then I would like our beloved Miriam to set the context for us, which she does so beautifully, and then we'll have this experience. Here we go. All right. Thank you for your patience. One moment. There we go. Whoops. So the song that you're about to hear will be sung in 3 languages, beginning with Hebrew, then English, then Arabic. It's called Open Your Heart, and it was composed by Nathaniel Goldberg for a grief ritual in Israel. And these are the lyrics, and each verse is sung 2 times. Open your heart, your sweet, pure heart. Allow your tears to cleanse and heal. I am here with you, and with your pain. You are here with me. We are the same. Thank you, Miriam.
Yes, thank you. So we wanted you not only to listen, those of you who joined us, but also to have a small experience of uniting in our humanity. So we invite you, as we will listen to the song, if you wish, you can close your eyes. If you want, you can put your hands on your heart or wherever you feel, and listen to the song and let the lyrics, also those that you don't understand in the language that is foreign to you, just embrace you and what you feel. What is alive in you now as you listen to us, to our experience, as you had this time to have a glimpse into a reality that is possible and that looks like impossible in the reality of war. And yet it is like a window into a reality, into a dream that can be manifested. So I invite us all to hold ourselves and let ourselves be held in opening our hearts to feel what's there, to feel the pain, and to know that we are together in this and that we can heal, holding each other. And why?
פתח את ליבך, את כל כולך, תן לדמעות לשטוף אותך. פתח את ליבך, את כל כולך, תן לדמעות לשטוף אותך. אני כאן איתך בכאב שלך, אתה איתי בכאב שלי. אני כאן איתך בכאב שלך, אתה איתי בכאב שלי. Open your heart, your sweet pure heart. Allow your tears to cleanse and heal. Open your heart, your sweet pure heart. Allow your tears to cleanse and heal. I'm here with you, with your pain. You are here with me. We are the same. I'm here with you, and with your pain. You are here with me. We are the same. יפתח חלומך, יפתח רוחך, ישמח לה לדמוע, לתחזיר רוחך. יפתח חלומך, יפתח רוחך, ישמח לה לדמוע, לתחזיר רוחך. أنا هون معك ومع معك، أنت هون معي، إحنا نفس الشيء. أنا هون معك ومع معك، أنت هون معي، إحنا نفس الشيء.
We have invited people to put anything in the chat. And I also recognize, I know that even for myself, I'm just filled with so much feeling. No words. Thank you so much, Miriam and Iran and Netanel, for creating such a beautiful space for us to realize how much we mean to each other when we show up fully. One of the things that really impressed me about that grieving ceremony, Miriam, and the way it was set up, was that we had water and fire in the center, and there were cushions on all sides, so you could come from the center and you could kneel down in front of these elders. And there was a cushion behind every one of those cushions. So if someone came forward to grieve, someone else came forward to just kneel behind them. Just be there in case they're needed. Ben, maybe you can speak.
There's some beautiful comments in the chat, Danielea and Miriam and everyone. People saying, thank you, dear friends, for sharing your experience. There is hope. And echoing the song, I'm here with you, with your pain. You're here with me. We are the same. From Rita Marsh. Victoria Friedman says, peace is a song. And Shauna says, I feel deep gratitude. Thank you for your presence in the world and your dreaming of peace. Keep on with your beautiful work. Much love to you all. Yanni Maniata says, what a beautiful love story you are weaving. Yes, magnificent. Magnificent. It's very touching. It's very beautiful. And you can feel the reality of what you have co-created and brought together. And so perhaps as we begin to close the circle, Danielea, if we can ask, the question of what's next, and of course the answer may be who knows, but in a sense of there is a river that's flowing that from the events uniting in humanity in Greece earlier this year through actually in the part one, which I would encourage everybody. We'll find the link to part one of this dialogue, Danielea, and we'll put it in the chat as well. It was amazing, and that really gave us, and Danielea and myself and everyone, I think, the impetus to go and make sure we complete this part two. But in a sense of, as we're closing tonight, today, this morning, wherever you may be, what is the sense of where the river is flowing? And again, maybe we can start with Daphne and Nepheli. But where do you feel that this is carrying you? And where do you think this is carrying us? Where do you feel that is carrying us?
I can start just by saying that whenever we speak with Nepheli, we still share about how full we are from this experience, and at the same time also really witnessing ripple effects that are happening. Like we both get approached by people who want to do something really similar, and this is fantastic to see how what we created has inspired people all over the world. Like there was someone in Poland and someone also in Crete and in the States and in Germany, I think, if it was in Germany. Yeah, so this is one thing. that is happening. For me, I can say that I feel like you also said then at some point that this kind of really happened organically, and there was a lot of trust, and there was like a helping hand in a sense in this whole process. And I feel that for me at this point, I'm really staying open to kind of see where that river will flow. I'm like flowing with it. There's not a concrete plan from the head, but I'm here, I'm present, and I'm willing to continue.
Yes, and if I can add to that, I really resonate with this actually, like we're in a period where we're really open and listening to what is needed. And in a way, I feel that Daphne and I, we were perhaps the spark of creating this gathering, but this gathering, the holding of this gathering were really, it was really held by Israeli and Palestinian people for Israeli and Palestinian people. And so this is something very important for me as I continue and as continue envisioning and to always have this as a pillar. Also, I believe in this a lot.
Ben, I'd like to just share some words that Nitzan, who had to leave, that she shared at the closing circle that have also really stayed with me. And she said, I know that we touched exactly what was needed in this gathering. Touching into the rage and fear that is at the root of the war is next. And I really feel that. I feel that that the opening of our hearts and finding our common ground created the safety to potentially go into very much more dangerous territory. So I'm holding that thread that we have the courage to go there. So I just wanted to put that in. Any last comments from Amira and from Miriam before we close?
Yes, actually, I want to say something also about the alder trees and about what Ben said about the feminine energy there. And it's like when we go to the big trees there, and it's really like symbol of my homeland. And also it's remind me about my childhood. And just being there, it's felt to me just time to rest and to speak up our pain and personal pain, political pain, because what is really personal is political and the opposite. And these trees gave me the space just to cry, being there, to ask question and receive what I'm really needed. And I think these trees and this community that we became in Greece, and we are just now friends, and we are hoping to do stuff together. And it's like opening a spot for me to do more things, more circles around the world, also in Palestine, also in everywhere in the world. And yes, I'm really grateful for this opportunity. Thank you.
I also want to join the gratitude, and especially to you both, Nepheli and Daphne, for also trusting us, inviting us to co-facilitate and co-create this with you. And for me, it was so profound not to be alone in it, to also be witnessed by the international community. It is part of the healing that makes it possible that we are embraced in a wider web. And I want to encourage everyone that we all are part of this web, that we are weaving a web of peace, a web of life that sustains life, and that we all are part and have our role, and that we are not helpless. We can come together and create magic. It's possible. And you have been proving this. Like, we have been proving this together, but we needed your invitation. And we needed so badly a place outside of the war zone to rest, like Amira said, and also to release some of the tension and to rejuvenate and receive more strength and hope so we can continue changing, continue healing. And I just want to close with a prayer that we will all remember we are one, that our origin is from the same family. And in the end, we are one human species, and that may we remember to honor all tribes, all nations, all life, and unite in our humanity. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Ben, I would like to share a couple of slides, and then I would like to give you the last word.
Sure.
All right. So this is a message from the olive trees that was received back in February, and I wanted to leave all of us with this invitation. This actually came from someone who was listening with the 4,000-year-old olive tree called Al-Badawi, who lives in the Palestinian village of Al-Walajeh in southern Bethlehem. So an invitation for each of us to be the connection that resides with everything. I want to also just put out an invitation to those of us those of you listening, that this peace journey is part of a long-standing thread with Unity Earth, and there's a group of us as a peace delegation going to Japan, and also for Peace Week that happens in September, culminates on the 40th anniversary of the International Day of Peace on September 21st. There'll be gatherings also in San Francisco and New York and Geneva, etc. And so as part of the preparation for that event, I'll be hosting, along with Ben and Unity Earth and Unite for Peace, a special listening field on September the 6th, in which we're going to invite in the olive tree elders, the ones that you have met here today, as also the kukui and the ginkgo trees, and Mount Fuji. And so we just wanted to invite you to mark your calendars, and if you're interested in participating in this, you can sign up at the listeningfield.life. So I'm gonna turn it over to you now, Ben, to just offer some closing words, and just want to reiterate again my deep gratitude to you to saying yes to collaborating on this program, so that we may share more of what has happened here with the world at large.
Oh, wow, Danielea. Be the connection that resides in the heart of everything. What a magnificent message from the olive trees. And you can feel the connection here of this uniting in our humanity, magnificent weaving. And here we are in the 99 days of peace through unity, building up to, yes, this pilgrimage to Japan and many other parts of the world at the same time. People are on pilgrimage for Peace Week and Peace Day. I just want to really express gratitude to you, Danielea, for the devotion and the work that's gone into telling this story. I know how passionate you were about these amazing facilitators, and I think we can all see why, and we've all experienced why you're so fierce in getting this out there, and then bringing in that consciousness of the nature elders. It's just so beautiful. It's really humbling. I think all of us here who have been here to witness this can feel the power of it. And to our leaders, these amazing women who have put this program on, I just want to say, keep going. We need you. The world needs what you have. It's so evident that we cannot solve the problems of the world at the level of consciousness that created them. And a big part of that is our intellectual mind. We can't solve it at that level. So what you're bringing, all of you, to this is a kind of a medicine. And yes, it's a richly, deeply feminine medicine, but it's so important and it's so right. And I don't think there is another way than to sit and to be together and to be in nature and to listen deeply and to spend time together. I don't think there is any other way. So what you have been doing, are doing, and will continue to be doing, we're all here in support to follow and to encourage and to connect and empower, because I think you're onto something that is incredibly profound and powerful. And if it can create a field of love and peace and joy and healing in the context of the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, then wow, where can you not create a field of love and peace and joy and healing? So deep gratitude to you, deep bows to all that have participated in this, and with a sense of feeling that we have a new song and a new dance and a new calling forward, away from the pain and the destruction and the suffering and the blame, and into the love and the joy and the healing and the being there with one another as we uniting in our humanity and all of life. Thank you, friends. Thank you for being with us. And Danielea, well done. Congratulations. And on we go from here. Thank you to the listening field. Blessings.
Unity Earth TV, Unity Earth TV, Unity Earth, oh come on home. Unity Earth TV.